Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning into our Pitt United Way kickoff for the UW 2021-2022 campaign. I am happy to report we're only 13 days into the campaign and we're almost at $77,000 raised. So we thank you for your generosity. If you have not given, please go on to my.pitt.edu and search for United Way and you can make your pledge. At this time, I would like to introduce our 2021-22 campaign chair, Mark Henderson, and also from the United Way, Bobbi Geer, who is the president and CEO of United Way. Thank you both for joining. We look forward to tuning into your conversation today. Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning into our United Way kickoff.
Thanks, Kelly. It's great to be here with you, Mark. To have this conversation.
Well, it's great to be with you too, Bobbi. Thank you, Kelly, for the introduction. And I'm excited that early into the campaign, we're already at $77,000. I am the Vice Chancellor and CIO at the University of Pittsburgh, and it's my pleasure to be leading this effort for the university during this United Way campaign season. Bobbi, what are the most pressing needs in our community right now, and how do donations directly impact those needs?
Well, thanks for having me on this kickoff program today, Mark. It's great to work with you and Kelly and the entire Pitt team. Have a special place in my heart for Pitt. I'm a twice over alum, so you can't see them on my wall, but two separate diplomas degrees from Pitt. So I'm always excited to be with the Pitt community. I have to say, Mark, that the most pressing needs currently, and sometimes when I say this to folks, they're a little bit surprised that they were the same pre-pandemic as they are during the pandemic and as we will expect them to be as we hopefully soon move out of the pandemic. And it's really about meeting basic needs in the community. It's about food, housing, utilities, transportation, and access to the internet for educational purposes. These needs have certainly been exacerbated during the pandemic, and it's really shined an unflattering light on how pervasive these issues are for us and how disproportionately they impact our community and some community members more than others. But, United Way has always been really committed to meeting basic needs. So we were ready for this moment. We were ready to accelerate the work that we've been doing because we can engage across sectors. That's our superpower, if you will, that we can bring together corporations and universities and nonprofit partners and public agencies, donors and volunteers alike, to address our community's toughest problems. I can give you a specific example of how we've mobilized to do that and how all of these basic needs issues interact and work together. I'd mentioned that food has been one of the most persistent challenges for us. And since the beginning of the pandemic, we have worked to make more food available in the community by working with the PNC Foundation, Eaton Park, Aunt Cheryl's Kitchen, the Eat Initiative, to be able to provide over 1.3 million meals to students and families. But it's really important to note that if you don't have transportation to get to those meals, you can't benefit from them. So another thing that United Way was able to do was to build out a transportation network so that we could deliver those meals to kids and to their families when they couldn't access them. And at the same time, also deliver personal protective equipment, to deliver diapers and other supplies that families might need during this time. So we really couldn't do this kind of orchestration. And that's really what United Way does best, is really tap into across all the sectors and work with our partners to be able to respond to problems in real time. And we just couldn't do that without partners like the University of Pittsburgh. So that's why I'm so excited to be here today.
Well, thank you very much for that answer. You hit on some really important points. Let me ask you, what are our next steps towards recovery from the pandemic, and what do we need to do to move forward?
Yeah, so I would say, Mark, that we really have to double down on ensuring that basic needs are met. One of the things that I didn't mention yet is that we've been able to keep a pretty close eye on how needs are evolving through 211. And I hope that most of the participants today know what 211 is, but it's our 24/7/365 information and referral line for human service needs. And since the beginning of the pandemic, our contact volume, you can call us at 211, you can text us, you can go online for self-service, but our contact volume has more than doubled since the beginning of the pandemic. And it helps us understand how the needs continue to evolve. So we know that we're going to have to double down on continuing to meet basic needs. And another way that we've been keeping an eye on this is through a new report that we compile and put out into the community every other month called our Community Pulse Report. And I would encourage everyone to check that out on our website at uwswpa.org. If you just search for the Community Pulse Report. But that report tracks a number of data points about the well-being of families and kids in our region. And it helps us then determine where we're making investments in the community to meet those needs. And so in particular, over the last 18 months, United Way has invested just for COVID-related issues, $11 million, more than $11 million across 150 organizations to be able to make sure that food, emergency basic needs are met, to make sure that people have access and transportation to vaccines. And out of the 150 organizations that we have funded, about 130 of those organizations are new to United Way. And it's because we've been intentional about seeking out organizations that are hyper-local, grassroots, and making sure that we're reaching the most vulnerable community members and those who are most disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. So we've been very intentional about making sure that we're serving communities of color. And we've also been very intentional about making sure that kids get reconnected to learning. One of the things that came out in the Pulse report is that lower income communities, kids who live in those communities, had no choice but to continue school through remote learning. In a lot of other school districts, kids were able to have a hybrid model and some were able to go in person. So a lot of kids who were already most vulnerable didn't have learning resources or connection to the internet to be able to learn remotely. And we know that we need to do as much as we possibly can to better connect those kids and families, because not every kid starts off on first base, some start off on third base, and some aren't even on the playing field. And we want to make sure that we're addressing issues of equity going forward. So I know that was kind of a long answer, but it's basic needs, but through the lens of making sure that we're increasing equity in our community.
Thank you. Great answer. Given the evolving nature of the challenges that are on our community, how has United Way changed and adapted to best meet these needs?
Yeah, I think probably some of what we're doing is clearly a lot of what you're doing at the university as well. We've learned how to move faster and to be more nimble over these last almost 2 years. One of the things that we did right out of the gate is, at United Way, we work with very closely about 100 nonprofit partner agencies. One of the first things that we did, Mark, is that we allowed those nonprofit agencies to have flexibility with the funding that we provided so that they could adjust and move that funding to the current needs. And so I think that's one of the things that, by listening and understanding through 211 and the Pulse reports and listening to our partner agencies, we have a much better understanding about how the needs have shifted over the last couple of years. So I would say that clearly moving faster, being more flexible, listening to our partner agencies and members in the community. And again, because United Way stands at this intersection of the business community, the nonprofit community, and the public sector, we have a lot of unique perspective on what's going on in the community. The second thing that I would say about how we have changed and adapted, it's been a pretty tumultuous 19 months or so, but United Way also felt like this was a perfect time for us to look at our strategic priorities. And we actually went through a 9-month strategic planning process during this time. That the result of that is that we are much more focused on the change we're trying to create in the community. So our new strategic framework is really focused on meeting basic needs, moving people to greater financial stability, and building success in school and life. So those 3 key pillars, some on the program today may be familiar with our previous way of defining our work by populations served. So instead of saying that we're doing work through United for Children or United for Women, we're really looking at what are the problems we're trying to address so that we can all kind of pull up to them and get a closer view, and also recognize that those problems don't just exist in one population in our community, but they intersect. So our new strategic framework is really focused on meeting basic needs, moving people to financial stability, and building success in school and in life. And the third thing that I would say in terms of a key adaptation over the last 18, 19 months is that we're much more intentional about how we're using data, how we're collecting data. I mentioned the Pulse report already, but also how we're evaluating our work at United Way to ensure that we're making the best investments in the community. And one of the things that I'm pleased to say, and in particular in partnership with the University of Pittsburgh, is that we're evaluating our investments right now in our children's area, in the work that we're doing with kids, with the Center for Race and Social Problems. So we're taking a look at how we're making those investments. Are they increasing equity? What are some of the things that we can do to do a better job at increasing equity? And so that's a really important partnership with the university that I wanted to highlight. But those are some of the ways that we're adapting and changing as we continue to seek out that new normal.
Thank you. Bobbi, in addition to the fundraising campaign, in what other ways does the university partner with United Way to face into these challenges and opportunities? Yeah,
I just mentioned the evaluation with the Center for Race and Social Problems. That's a really important one for us. And that's been something that we've done pretty regularly is collaborate with various schools and departments when program interests overlap. But also, you certainly want to emphasize the volunteer connection that we have. I know a number of the Pitt family regularly volunteer in some capacity with United Way. We're very happy to have Pitt leadership on our board of directors, on some of our committees in the community, but also volunteering through our Days of Caring, through other volunteer activities. And then I would also mention through advocacy. United Way is very active in trying to advocate for public policy that better serves and addresses the human services needs in our community. And we partner with members of the Pitt community to advocate on those issues as well. So obviously your participation in campaign helps us accomplish the work and serve hundreds of thousands of people in the community, but can't understate the importance of volunteerism and advocacy as well, Mark.
Thank you. Given what you said, it strikes me that there are quite a few ways that the university and Pitt faculty, staff, retirees, and even students can help in terms of meeting the goals and having impact on the community. I mean, we're a big player in our community in a number of areas, some of which that you have mentioned, but also, we are renowned in terms of healthcare. So, there are many, many intersections where we can help. And in particular, relative to the campaign, no pledge is too big and no pledge is too small. We want everybody involved in this most important effort in helping those who might be less fortunate within our community and helping folks have opportunities to better themselves through many of the opportunities that the university provides. I would encourage everyone to use Kelly as a resource, and Kelly has access to other resources, not only within Pitt IT, but across the campus to understand more about United Way and to help get the word out to their peers and others. Because although we are focused on the Pitt contributions to United Way, we all know people throughout the community and beyond who could potentially contribute to this most important work done by United Way. So with that in mind, I would really like to ask all folks as part of the Pitt family and beyond to please give. You've heard from Bobbi about the important work that United Way is engaged in helping our fellow community members. So please make a gift online. Please participate in other activities that are part of this overall campaign. And I want to thank you very much for your consideration in terms of your participation and your gift. So I want to thank you, and I want to call Kelly back to close us out. Kelly?
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Bobbi, both for that conversation. It was really helpful. I hope it was helpful to our viewers as well. There's so much that they could both talk about and go on and on of all the great things that Pitt is doing to partner with United Way and all the great things that United Way is doing to help our community. But please, as Mark said, please use me as a resource. Each department has department managers and ambassadors who have information that I send out to them monthly. We have a newsletter. Follow us on social media. There's so much more that you can do to get involved. And it's not just giving your dollars, even though we do need your dollars, but your time. Your time is very important. We have some unique opportunities coming up to be able to volunteer with the bookstore to be able to earn money that goes towards the United Way. More information will come on that. Again, following us on social media, you'll be able to see that firsthand, as well as our newsletter that we send out monthly. Next week, we will be having an information session on the United Way Women's Leadership Council, as well as the Bridges Society for Young Professionals. So I encourage you to register for that, or just come onto our YouTube channel as you did today to see that next Wednesday. And I do want to last mention the payroll rollover, which is new this year. So if anybody gave through payroll deduction last year, we are rolling it over. We heard your plea and your ask that we make it simple and easy for you. So if you want to make any changes to your payroll, please do so by 5 p.m. on December 13th. If not, in your January pay, it will automatically roll over for you. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And thank you again, Bobbi and Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Bobbi. Thank you, Kelly. All the best.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.